Yes, I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Open Talk. Yeah, this is the show where I pretty much just pull headlines from the news and I discuss them. But on this show, I think I have one that is going to take up the full time and we'll discuss it. We'll open talk about it. And it's pretty much the images that we have seen on the news concerning the humanitarian issues that are going on in Haiti. So let's get into it. Now, first, the Haitians are migrating across the border of what they say is a border into America. But the truth of it, Haitians have been in this country for years, for decades. So this is not something, it is made to seem like it's something new, but it's really not. I think the thing that has caught a lot of people's disgusting attention is the images of white men on horses reaching for black people, and that just shows the deeply rooted racism in our blood, where white Americans, in my opinion, my open talk opinion, think that, hey, haven't we gotten past that? We're not doing that anymore. We're not like that anymore. That's not us. So white people, or the white people that say I'm a good white person, they're looking at those images like we're not even like that, you know? So what is this about? They're outraged. They're upset to see this. But you're not like that anymore. We know that. We as black people, we know that. What you saw in that image was something connected to the past in this country, or when the slave traders began to forcefully take black people from Africa and bring them over to build this new America. That's the image that is connected, because if you took any level of history in college or in high school, you saw those images in your history books. They may have since been taken out for some generations, but that's what you remember. If you're a millennial and before, you've seen those images, and those images are deeply seated in. They hadn't grown, and that's a shout out to just being good humans, but they've grown in some. But those images are connected to images of our past. And for black people, the black person, the black America, the African American, they're upset because they say, you see, they hadn't changed. But let's discuss that, because I thought they did change. Because in the black communities, we see the officers, these brave men and women that serve these communities, protect and serve, the good officers, I'll say that, the good cops, the good peacekeepers, we see them as those guys. So we as black people, we say, oh, you see, they ain't changed. They still doing the same. But that is also connected to the images of racism in this country in the past, because it's not like that. I mean, we don't even know how to honestly look at it. We say, oh, it's the cops that are doing that to black men in the neighborhoods, but that's not true. We're connecting anything that makes us feel less than human with things that we see on our television. And that right there is the issue, because white America has changed. Black America has changed. There are black millionaires. There are one or two black billionaires. I mean, you'll skip through this podcast and go watch one of your favorite rappers with all their jewelry, black entertainers, live their lavish life, and you honestly think that that's still going on? Come on. You just went through the Grammys, you Academy Award, whatever. I don't watch that crap. But anyway, whatever that was just out there, the thing that Nicki Minaj was supposed to be a part of. But you know there are successful black people. So there's no way you could honestly think that white people are doing that to black people. They're not. Because if they were, You would not have any successful black people, but there are millions of them. I mean, I just had Brianna McKnight on the show yesterday on the Front Grill. She's black. She's running her own business, young and black. So do not give me that narrative that is how white America is doing black people. Because the truth of support, if you're a business person, the people that give you money, the Federal Reserve, that loan you money for your company, if you want to get racist about it, they're probably white. You probably work for a white person. You probably are employed. The corporate structure, it goes back to a white person. If you want to choose race and think that white people are riding up on horses to your job site to grab you to go work for another job, no, you quit your job, you go apply it at another place. That's what's happening. They're not. I don't even know how we connect so fast to what we see when we need to connect with who we are. Now, if you're black, you're successful, that's who you are. Now, if you're black and you're like, screw all of that, I'm just gonna get what I can from the government, that's who you are. If you're white and you know you're pro-humanitarian, I'm not even gonna say anything other than that. If you are for humanity and the doing better of humans, no matter their color, race, or origin, then don't worry about what you see. Do not attach yourself with that image, because those guys on those horses were doing whatever they were told by whoever told them to do it. And I guarantee you it wasn't Joe Biden. And this is not a political show, but I guarantee you it wasn't him. So what we need to know is some history. Just Google it. I mean, Haiti was under the French control for years. They fought to get away from under that. America, the colonies, were under the British control. We fought to get from under that. I say we because I'm in America. I had my, I would drop the name, but I will. I've done my 23andMe DNA. I know where my bloodline goes. I have Hispanic relatives. I have white relatives. I mean, I'm a gumbo African American. So, and that comes from my dad's side and my mom's side. I might get into that one show, but this open talk is about the imagery that we connect in the media with something that's rooted in us, and it is being the victims of slavery and the benefactors of slavery. That's white and black, but we aren't there anymore. If you are listening to this podcast from the sanctity of your home, that is proof that we are not there anymore. Now, moving on. Poverty. I have earlier episodes in my show about poverty. Now, the real problem is poverty in Haiti. That's the real issue. But before we jump to Haiti, let's stay in America. You are so upset by the images on that television, but over the week, I can guarantee you walked past, strolled your happy ass past a homeless person that asked you for some money, that said, hey, do you have any spare change on you? Now, if you live in Atlanta, and some of my older friends do, or people I've associated with, you know what I'm talking about. Now, Atlanta is supposed to be the black mecca for black people. But if you go through downtown at a certain time of day, or traffic is stopped down there in the middle of downtown, you will see nothing but homeless people. And if you black, they black. These people are standing out there with signs telling you what they need, asking you for money, asking you for food. They're standing there. That is the poverty level in America, and every city deals with that. I mean, homelessness and poverty is so big that it is portrayed in movies. There are roles for homeless people in movies just to keep the movie relative to you, relative to the subject. Now, you think about that. If poverty is so ostracized, why is it also so publicized? And the financial gain for having They have made movies of people coming from being homeless to rich. Poverty in America, poverty globally, is a humanitarian, a human issue, and we as humans have to deal with it. Now, what you see on there, and it is very terrible to actually see how poor people are doing. But what did you see it on? Your smartphone? Your phone that could have fed a whole country for a year. Your phone, your home, your roof over your head. You feel some entitlement because that's not you. And then you say, oh, that's not us anymore. We shouldn't be treated. That ain't you. If you're sitting in your home and you're watching that, or you was on your iPad or your MacBook or your, and I'm dropping names down because I mean they're not sponsoring me, but anyway, if you're doing it on any smart device that costs more than $500 and you got a problem with what you see, you need to really think about the problem with what you see, because you don't see yourself. Now, it's poverty. That is poverty. Those people Haiti just went through some natural disasters, some very terrible natural disasters, and they are trying to flee that country because those people, they're tired. They're hungry, they're starving, they're poor, no education, the lack of education. They're coming to this country, the very country, I've been over that before, but I'll repeat, the very country that you're upset with, for the people that don't like Joe Biden, so for the people that didn't like Donald Trump, these people are dying to get to this country. Dying. And there you sit your fat cat ass up there in your home or in your apartment and feel like, oh, we need to do something. Didn't you do something? Didn't you vote? Haven't you done something? I mean, come on, let's wait. We need to look at ourselves and see if we, when I say we, Americans, African Americans, white Americans, whatever race of American you would have put before American, we need to look at ourselves and say, hey, self, what can I do to change that? I tell you what you can do to change that. It starts at home. Those people are dying to get to America because it's better than their home. But you won't even give the person that's outside your home, that is at the gas station near your home, $1 because you feel you're better than them. You walk past that home. This is a true story. I was actually out. There's a department store not too far from me, so I'm not a person. I try not to keep cash on me. I just don't, because my heart says if a homeless person or someone who seems without ask me for it, I'm giving it all to them. So anyway, that day I had cash in my pocket. So a lady was, and I've seen a lady before. She has never asked before. That's another strange part. But that day she asked me, hey, do you have any money on you that you could spare? Now this day I did. And I just went in my wallet and I gave her all the money. And she's counting the money and says, and now she's saying thank you, like this big look on her face. And I looked at her, I said, I couldn't lie to you, and walked on in a department store. My point is, if you've listened to any of my podcasts before this, you know my family and we've been homeless. We've been without. We've slept on the streets. So don't think that I'm the fat cat forgetting, because I remember. And it tears at me that I seen other people. There are hundreds of thousands of people that are living below this poverty line. And in America, that poverty line, you just saw the effects of it on your television. Black people, if the poverty line has affected you, why didn't you grab your belongings and try to migrate to Canada? Why didn't you try to illegally cross that border? Because those people that you're seeing, those people that you saw in that image with the guy on the horse, they were trying to flee a country that is in a terrible position. And you've claimed for years that you're in a terrible position. I've complained that, hell, I grew up in the hood. Hell, I was jealous of how white people were portrayed to live. I was like, hell, look at this. And look at me. I got dirty socks. You got clean, but I didn't go anywhere. There's nowhere to migrate to. Nowhere. At no point in time, for all you pissed off black people, have you gotten together and said, let's leave America, let's migrate. That happened. Marcus Garvey of the past, he tried to take black Americans back to Africa. Thousands of them went, but millions of us stayed. That's why we're still here. That movement to have black people have their own was already done, was already tried. So you see these Haitians, these people whose country is being destroyed by natural disasters. You see them dying, being chased on by horseback to get into a country that you don't even love. So you need to ask yourself, why are they dying to get where I am, just living to complain? You're living to complain in America. They're dying to get to America. Because, believe it or not, it's still the freest country on this planet. It is still the greatest country on this planet. It is still the country of opportunity. The country of trying, getting, and having. So, in the spirit of being a good human, and I want you to check yourself, white, black, whoever. If you had a problem with that picture, if you have a problem with seeing those people fleeing that country to get to your country, you need to, let me say this, you need to renew your patriot vow, your pledge of allegiance to this country. Renew it, because you're not going nowhere. I don't care how pissed off you are with any government. You are not going nowhere. You are not leaving America. You are not. You're going to move to another state. But are you going to do your research at the poverty line? Or you going to wind up in another city or another area that has the same issues with poverty and being poor and the same medium income? Yeah, that's a thing. Look at that. Are you going to do that? Now, if you're a white American and you're like, oh, that ain't us. That ain't us. Oh, we don't do that. Why don't you? You know you do some things wrong. Because you're a human just like black people are. The black people are walking past the homeless people too. So are you. So are you. So are you. So my call on this open talk is humanitarian. If you are human and you want, and those images disgust you and you don't ever want to see them again, I mean, Bono is a great humanitarian. He has been doing a lot for Haiti for, I know, since I was a kid. I mean, he was one of the first persons I ever heard going over there when it was just U2. I know Bono has, oh man, he's tried. He's tried. I mean, Angelina Jolie, she's tried. She ended up adopting a lot of those kids because she couldn't save them all. These people have tried. Oprah Winfrey started an academy. Of course, it had issues, but they have tried. They have tried, but they cannot succeed without you and I, without white, black, without any, whatever your race is, and if you follow it with American, Jewish American, French American, Haitian American, they cannot, these humanitarian issues that you see worldwide cannot be handled unless we do it together as humans. This has been another episode of Open Talk. Love someone, and thank you for listening.